Thank you. All right. Welcome, everybody, to English 101. On Monday, we had a great presentation by Noea on academic research, and I went through it this morning. I uploaded it to YouTube. I just have to transfer it over to Canvas, which I'll be doing maybe right after this class. But she covered a lot of bases in terms of the type of research that you want to do for this very important paper. Like I mentioned all the time, I want this, or my desire would be for this to be the best paper you've ever written, and that you will have learned so much about the argumentative essay, argumentative writing in third person as opposed to first and second person, which I still see students writing in first and second person. And I did make comments on your first two paragraphs. I haven't seen the ones that you turned in on Sunday. In fact, I gave you until Monday. So I have to take a look at those paragraphs. This week, we're going to be concentrating on the counter argument paragraph, and we're going to take a look at that today. I also wanted to talk about and share a little bit about plagiarism. We don't want to go there. And sometimes it happens where students will include something that they meant to give credit to the writer and they didn't. And so I pointed out to them, and then they will give the writer credit. We have to be careful about using too much of other people's work, because then all of a sudden it's not your work, and you're kind of relying on everyone else's quotes. And so, and there's a percentage, there's a program on here that measures the percentage of your original writing versus the writing that you've incorporated from other sources. And so that's why this paper here, I think that when you're done with it, you're going to be very proud of yourself, especially if you really got into it, because you learned how to do academic research. You learned that if you write something, if you make a statement on paper that about an important issue, that you have to support it with some type of research, right? You can't just, like I told you on Monday, I can't just say that the cell phone affects the mental health issues of young people and then keep on going without saying, according to this survey, according to this article, according to this academic magazine or study, right? We always have to, whatever we say, we have to be able to back it up on paper. So again, Noea did a great job, and it's worth it to go back to it and go over it to see, the best ways to do your academic research. And then the resources within the site, within our site, are incredible. I didn't realize that you can make an appointment with someone and have a face-to-face with them, or that there's a search engine, I think, there where you can actually talk to if a librarian from San Diego City College isn't available, then there are librarians all over the United States that may chime in and help you with your research. It's important that you remember that per paper that you see a tutor, per essay that you see a tutor, you always need a second pair of eyes. I won't send anything out myself, whether it's a letter or anything, without someone else look at it. Why? Because our eyes deceive us. They will bounce over errors. They will assume things about your writing that are mistakes. So you have to have somebody with a keen eye to say, oh, you know what? You said you have right here, R-I-G-H-T, as opposed to W-R-I-T-E. Those, there's a lot of like little mistakes there and there, T-H-E-I-R versus THERE. And so you have to have a second pair of eyes. So you need a tutor. You definitely want to take a look at the rubric, which hopefully I'll remember to pull it up today, so you can see how your essay is going to be reviewed. This is kind of like the rubric is like an outline and has specifications. You're definitely going to want to remember that you need 4 sources to back up your essay, and then 2 of them have to be peer reviewed or academic. And it'll go, your paper will be typed in MLA format, which Noea is going to go over on Monday. And then you're definitely going to have to add your list of sources. That's like the last page or 2 of your paper. How many pages is 1,500 words? Anybody? Anybody know?
Isn't it about 6 to 7?
Yes, exactly. It's about 6 to 7 pages, double spaced. Double spaced. Okay. So these are just little mini things. I want you to make sure that you make an appointment with a tutor, that you will see if I can pull up, remind me to pull up the rubric, and I'll show you where it is, and I'll actually put it on the same page as everything else in our on the Canvas in the modules. 4 sources, 2 peer-reviewed, academic, MLA format, and then the last few pages is going to be your bibliography, your sources, your page of sources, and then there's a way to format that also. So text me. Also, there's 2 other things I wanted to mention to you, and one is that you have the option to, I gave my cell phone number is on the syllabus. I'm going to put it here in the chat. And a lot of, some teachers say I'm crazy because I give out my cell phone number. I've never had a problem in all the years that I've taught. And if I do, I could just, how do you say, delete or block, But if you have, and this is the best and the easiest way to get a hold of me. I teach 5 classes. As you guys probably know, every other weekend I take care of my mom who has dementia. And so, there oftentimes I'm just away from the computer for 24 hours or so. And if you have a question, you could either go to Pronto. If you don't have Pronto, you can download it from the App Store. And then you just follow the directions and you'll have Pronto on your phone, and you can text me. It's a text messaging service that's provided by Canvas. And the other thing is, if you text me, you can say, "This is Joy. And I'm going to know who you are, from your English 101 class, and I have a question or whatever. This is Genesis. This is Mary. This is Alicia." I don't mind at all. And usually, if I see your text, I can answer it right away. Okay. So I know that's crazy, right? He's giving out his phone number. Dang. I don't mind. All right. Because like I said, I've never had a problem. And all right. So let's take a look at, let's go to, let me share my screen here. And what was interesting was I thought I was sharing my screen on Monday, and I'm talking about it, and it's not there. So you just have to listen to me with the recording on Monday. Okay, can everybody see this?
I can see it. Yes.
Good. All right, good. All right. So has anybody watched the fixed mindset versus growth mindset?
I did.
Which one did you look at? Did you look at this presentation or this one or both?
Both.
Okay. Did you want to make a comment for us on it?
I know we have to it goes towards our essay later in the week that we do, but it didn't really the essay isn't all about that, but she was talking about how if you change your mind, it's okay to fail as long as in your head you know you're going somewhere, and you could work on not giving up, like keep going towards your goal. Be mindset that if you have a positive mindset, it could change your future. Versus it doesn't even matter how rich you are, how poor you are, what neighborhood you grew up in, as long as you have a mindset and able to grow instead of being fixed. Like being a fixed mindset would be like you don't want to change.
Right. Right. And so
you have to change.
Yes, you have to.
Everybody needs to change all the time.
Right, because it's real easy to create our own rules for ourselves and then just stick to them, whether they make sense anymore or not. You know, as you grow as a person, you may want to get rid of some rules that you set for yourself that no longer apply. And so the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset basically is kind of like that, but I don't want to dummy it down by creating a 1 or 2 sentence summary. It's important that you look at both of these videos so that you get a really good idea of what we're talking about. And then we have to ask ourselves, are we of a fixed mindset or are we of a growth mindset? So that's, I won't show them now, but you can see them on your own. They're both about 5 or 6 minutes long. You know, me with I like keeping everything short. And then here is something that Carol Dweck wrote, and it's about the mindset, and then it's also here available on a PDF. This here, I implore you to read. If you don't have this, let me know. And I will upload a PDF for you. I don't want students to get behind on the reading because they don't have the book. It's important if you can get the book. But this research, more than detective work, is, again, it's kind of like summarizing what we're doing with the argumentative essay. And you can see even by the little cartoon, keeping the story straight, tracking down sources, sourcing the source, making sources talk, summary, paraphrase, and quotation, and then coming clean with your citation. That's important that you, again, acknowledge whoever's work that you include to support your claims in your argumentative essay. Here, where, again, this is just where I ask you to comment on the mindset. What kind of mindset do you have? And here we can comment about it. A lot of times this opens up students' minds to thinking, gee, I sure am kind of fixed in a lot of the ways that I deal with stuff. And like I said, maybe they're just not pertinent anymore. You've grown, you're older now, and you can take a look at things much differently. So you want to have a different mindset, right? You want to have a growth mindset. Here is the counter argument, and it's like an important part of your argumentative essay. Why? Because you need to expose the opposition's position and then use that to buttress your position. You can say things like, okay, yes, the cell phone is this and the cell phone is that. And it's, yes, it, you know, a lot of people say, well, in case of emergencies, or in case, well, I need to, you know, to stay in touch with my family, and all these things are good, but the cell phone isn't the only way to do that. And some of them almost sound like crutches, you know, for staying on the cell phone. I have to say that, you know, I was given a presentation and there was a teacher that just insisted that the cell phone was okay to use in the classroom to do research. And even though I told her, yes, but the students are most likely on the cell phone in the hallway before they walk in. And it's the first thing they pick up when they leave. And then you're going to give them, you know, the authority to use it as a research tool. That means you're going to have to go around and monitor each one to make sure that that's exactly what they're doing. I don't know, you know. I think there's other ways to do research for classes. But anyway, the counter argument, basically, you want to disprove, you want to make a statement about the benefits, but then show how your arguments and your claims outdistance the benefits, and that we need to take control. Control is the key term here. And so let's just take a look. It's only 3 minutes
Today
long.
we are going to be talking about writing your counter argument paragraphs. A counter argument is the opposite point of view from the writer. You have your own claim, and a counterclaim or a counter argument is the opposite of your point of view. The counterclaim is the topic sentence of your counter argument paragraph. In your paragraph, you have two things to do: acknowledge the counterclaim and disprove it with a rebuttal. We're going to talk about a little later what that is. So an example of the claim, which is the one I've been using: there should be mandatory drug testing in schools. The counterclaim is: there are those who claim that mandatory drug testing is a violation of students' privacy. That's the opposite from my claim. So that is why it's a counterclaim. Step one is to acknowledge the counterclaim. How do we do this? In order to acknowledge the counterclaim, you have to show that you know what the opposing claim is. Then we talked about yesterday, we talked about what ethos is, and that ethos builds trust. You do this by showing that you know what the other party's ideas are to help build trust and authority in your reader, that you know what you're talking about. So you acknowledge the counterclaim by stating it, and then giving a reason for support for the counterclaim. Here's an example. There are those who claim that mandatory drug testing is a violation of students' privacy. They say making students pee in a cup is not a school's job. You have your claim and then a reason of support. The next thing that you have to do, step two, is to disprove the counterclaim with a rebuttal. A rebuttal is basically you saying you are wrong and here's why. We talked about in this paper, the format of it is: here's my argument, here's what you think, and here is why I'm correct. This is why you were saying, here's why I'm correct again. The rebuttal is another supporting reason why your point of view is correct. You must use a quote, paraphrase, or summary with a citation or source tag. This is an example with a paraphrase and citation. However, other tests may be available, such as hair testing. This is not an invasion of a student's personal privacy. So this is, again, another reason of support for your claim. Then we put them all together. So you have a counterclaim, a reason for support of the counterclaim, but then you rebut that with a citation or a source tag. There are those who claim that mandatory drug testing is a violation of a student's privacy. They say making students pee in a cup is not a school's job. However, other tests may be available, such as a hair test. This is not an invasion of a student's personal privacy. So we're going to just very briefly review. In order to write your counter argument in your claim paragraph, you must acknowledge the counterclaim by stating it and giving reasons that support it. Disprove with a rebuttal by giving a supporting reason why your point of view is right, using a quote, paraphrase, or citation. We are now going to do an activity called oral debate. I will give these instructions in class.
Okay. So, like I mentioned, you want to definitely share some positive aspects of the cell phone, because there are many, right? But spending way too much time on the cell phone affects teens' mental health issues, and we have to make sure that we continually keep the prompt in front of us. I would cut it out and paste it on your computer or wherever, because it's easy to go off on a tangent. Any questions on the counter argument?
So when you do the counter argument, we have to find somewhere a source that's saying the opposite of what we have been saying in our essay, correct? It's a cited one from like a library, like a scholar source, correct?
Yes. So, something, I'm just talking off the top of my head. If you were to say something like, one of the main problems with the cell phone is it's addictive, and especially among the teenage age group, right? And then you go on to support that with some research. According to this study, 65% of teens admit, and they do admit, that they are addicted, and they do admit using it at night, which causes, if you've done your research, I'm not gonna blow it here, but what happens, right? You know what happens with the little blue light, right? Okay.
But you say the counter argument first, right? Or
Right.
do you say what you want to say first? Like cell phones are destroying our teens' mental health, and then do the counter argument? Or do you do the counter argument first, such and such is saying that cell phones are great, and then that's the part I'm getting confused.
Okay, yeah. What you want to do is you want to mention the cell phones and the beauty of them, or all positive things about them. And
so you say the positive stuff first, then the
right, and then you say something like, however.
Okay, got it.
When you come in with your stance, your claim, which should be stronger than the positive things about the phone.
Okay.
The phone is turned into an entertainment center, but we need to be entertained 24/7, right?
Okay.
That type of a thing. Okay. Any other questions? That was a very good question.
Okay, and we do that in 2 paragraphs?
No, you could do it in 1 paragraph.
Okay, and how many words do you want us doing at least then? 500?
Well, I'm going to leave that up to you. If you do 500 just in your counter argument, then that's like a third of the requirement, and you've got 5 other paragraphs to go, and the conclusion is fairly, that's a pretty meaty paragraph, because you're summarizing everything that you've said, and then you're going to add a point of view, and then possibly a suggestion.
Oh, okay, because I thought we were done next week with our conclusion. Okay, so we're not done yet.
No. Well, what we're doing is we're building. So I know that if you've done a great introductory paragraph and a good body paragraph, I know that you're going to be able to write 2 more good body paragraphs. Then you come with the counter argument, and then we come with the conclusion. And so once I've armed you with all of this really cool stuff, then I feel that you're going to be able to put it all together. And maybe some of you have already, finished it. I'm not sure. But I want to, like I said, give you as much ammo as possible.
Okay. And then the other essay we do on the first one, how many words do we do? How many words? Because sometimes it doesn't say how many words you want.
Well, the whole essay is going to be 1,500 words.
On the first one that that's due this week too, on the mindset.
Oh, no, that's just a commentary.
Okay,
I mean, you
so
know,
you
you
don't require a certain amount of words then on
well,
those.
let's take a look at it, you know, before I put my foot in my mouth here. Because it's usually, you know, I mean, if you really want to say something, it's usually about 300
Okay.
words. You know, let's go back
Okay.
because I want to make sure that everybody understands. Okay, so let's open it up. Preview. It says, after reviewing the PowerPoint and the video as well as the discussion during class on Monday, look at that date. I got to change that date.
Yeah.
That's funny. Answer the following question. And so usually when I ask you to answer the question, it's usually, you know, 300 words minimum. I'll change it to what says 300 to 500 words, okay?
Yeah, because sometimes you do say a minimum on there. That's why I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I'm glad that I saw the September 28th. Dang.
What?
All right. Okay, so let me go back here to the module. That's what happens when you copy stuff from previous
Last semester. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. So we're going to do that. That was the mindset thing. Here's the counterclaim. The MLA format, take a look at it. But like I said, we're going to cover it
Next week
on Monday. Plagiarism. Does everybody understand the concept of plagiarism?
I do. Well, you know, when we do write things, we do sometimes put other people's words in our words because it just happens, you know, like the street, you know, you say the sky is blue. Everybody says the sky is blue.
Right.
You know, there's going to be times where a little sentence might, but you'll let us know, right? Before you just give us an F.
I don't
in a class, you know how like you can fail us.
Yeah.
Would you warn us first? I was really worried about that.
Oh, no, I'm not a failing kind of guy. I hate, you know, that's why this is, if you turn something in, you get the points. I don't know if everybody's noticed that. You get the points for turning it in, but then the commentary is where I like to get a little heavy and point you in the right direction. That's what they call this contract grading. Why?
Okay.
Because in the past, students have done an awful lot of work, right? And then for them to fail and get a really bad grade, you know, without recognizing the work ethic and that's put into it, it was, you know, and then, you know, students, they fear these grades, you know, and so I think it hampers sometimes your production and your mental thinking. So if you know what, I'm going to put in a good effort and I know I'm going to get rewarded for it. It may not be A, B, C, or D, but the comments are worth more than that. And so that's the way that I grade. Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure the you know, the ones that you read already, did you even check for plagiarism first?
Well,
have you done any of that yet?
With the one that you guys just turned in?
Yes.
For this week, it checks it. If you want, I can give you an example.
Okay.
Of what it looks like.
Is that what the green box is when you submit it? Like a few minutes later, it pops up because it checks for plagiarism?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm gonna open it up and we'll see if I'll go tier 2. I go to speed grader. Let me know when it stops sharing because sometimes it does. Okay, so for example, this particular student here, right? It says 12.8% of other people's work, right? So I'm going to click on it so you can see what it looks like. And 12% isn't too bad, but it should be less than 10. Okay. So then here's what it does. And got it. Okay. So can you guys see that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There. Okay. So what does it say? It says 12.9% match. So you can see where the highlighted sections are taken from other sources. Okay. Now, the fact that people spend a lot of time, you know, that just like you said, Joy, that's a statement that you can get in a million places. So I'm not gonna, I already know that.
Okay,
And here,
that's what I was worried about.
and here he has something in quotes, right? Well, that's totally legitimate, and that's probably in one of these sources here. So you
Okay.
can see you can see what I see, right? Is that, and you guys get this too. You can see the sources and so on and so forth. And so
Yeah, I put the sources next to it as well in the sentence.
good. That's good. So we'll see how to really super format that on Monday.
Okay.
All right. So
Yeah, I was just wondering about that because my stuff wasn't graded yet, so I didn't know if there was anything I needed to change. But you'll let us know, right?
absolutely. Yeah. No.
Okay.
There's, you know what? I got to tell you something. Before that, we would kind of like rush through things, you know. And what I learned was, you know what? I'm not going to. We're gonna do this right. We're just gonna do. We're gonna at the end of this particular lesson on argumentative essays, you're gonna know how to do it, and you're gonna have done it right. And I'm gonna every time you stumble on something or something isn't quite right, I'm going to let you know so that you can fix it. Why?
Okay.
Because I want this to be the best, and then I want you to take the cognitive, argumentative mindset with you for the rest of your life. You know. So okay. So that's the revision. Let me go back here. And so let's see. And then your voice on paper. You know, some students, this is a really good little video. And I want you to write from the heart. I want to hear how you feel about things. And in the argumentative essay, you're going to tell me, but you're going to be writing from a third person perspective. And I discourage students from writing for me. And so I want to hear your voice. So when I read your paper, I want to hear Genesis in my head, you know, I want to hear Joy in my head, Alicia in my head. And so your voice on paper is important. So it's good for you to take a look at this particular little presentation here. And the conclusion, I'm going to go through this a little bit. What does that mean? There it comes. The reason that I want to go over the conclusion is because a lot of students, they kind of skip the conclusion. I mean, they don't give it a lot of credence. And this is where you really tie the whole thing up, because especially if you're making claims, this is a problem. Our teenage youth are just suffering mentally because this is not being addressed, because everybody is in on it, parents and teachers and manufacturers all want you. What do they want? They want your eyeballs. They want your attention. Why? So that they can sell you something. Like if you looked at the Social Dilemma, that's what it talks about. It talks about, the advertisers, they don't pay for advertising. What are they paying for? They're paying for your eyeballs, right? They're paying for accumulating information about you through the internet and then through your cell phone, and then using it to try to, next time you get on, to keep you on. They have lots and lots of different psychological devices. I mean, they're pairing engineers with psychologists to find ways to use color and excitement or whatever it is that turns you on to keep you on the phone, right? They have like a lot of these presentations say, everything and anything, everything that you do on your computer and on your phone is being documented. Everything, I'm sure you all know that if you upload a picture, doesn't matter whether it's Instagram or text messaging or anything, it's on the internet, it's in a data system somewhere, and you can erase it and you can delete it, it's still there. So we have to be careful about what we upload. We have to be very careful because it's permanently imprinted in these databases that these companies own. Okay, get off the soapbox, Professor. We heard you. All right, writing conclusions. The purpose of concluding paragraphs. You want to bring your essay full circle, right? You want to stress the importance of your thesis to give the essay a sense of completeness or finality. You want to leave the reader with a final impression. This is your last chance to convince or persuade the reader, so you have to make the most of it. So you want to repeat. You want to repeat your purpose, repeat your thesis, not word for word, but you want to rephrase your thesis in your conclusion. Whatever moral lessons, points, or arguments or dominant impressions you want to repeat, right? You want to really close this out. You want to come in for the close, like as if you were a salesman. You want to repeat main ideas and proof, as I said, as I mentioned, according to this survey, according to this study in Psychology Today or whatever, bomba, to support where you're going. You want to discuss in full the lessons learned, suggest larger implications, suggest future papers or research, right? Pose rhetorical questions. What does the future hold for our young people as the trend for mental problems continues an upward cycle? And then you end with a clincher sentence, just as you needed in each body paragraph, with a concluding sentence that wrapped up that paragraph, right? So clincher sentences, I mean, these are just suggestions. They suggest future essay topics. Maybe this all leads to us bringing this to the forefront of the news and letting people, be more aware, because, we don't hear about this stuff like we should. In other countries, they do. I got to tell you that the Adam Alter, the guy that wrote the book Irresistible, when I spoke with his agent, I thought the guy would be booked to death. He said no. He said he's booked in other countries, but here, no. They're downplaying it. They don't want us to think about these things, right? All right. So you want to avoid an empty cliche. If you, let's say it says relate to the point. For example, if you wrote a process paper on making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, end by saying that you are now hungry for one. Okay. If you wrote about your favorite band, end by waiting impatiently for their next disc or their next concert. If you wrote about your car as a junker, end optimistically by looking forward to the day when you can afford a new car or the car of your dreams. Okay. So this is the conclusion. Important. We're going to work on that next week, but it's important that you not skip it and not give it the importance that it deserves, because like I said, this is your last chance to solidify your arguments, and here's an opportunity where you can finally write in first person and talk about how you feel about your claims and then maybe making some suggestions. It's difficult when you see young mothers, at the park, and their kids are over there, somewhere, and they're on their phones, right? Or in
I
restaurants.
see that all the time when I take my son to the park. Their kids are doing other things, and the moms or the dads are just sitting up at the bench and not even interacting with their kids. It's so sad.
It is sad. Like I mentioned, I don't know if you were here, Alicia, but with one of the earlier classes, but I had a student who I was covering this very stuff, and I looked over at her, and she just had this look of dread on her face. And then she told me, and almost tearfully, choked up, she goes, "That's me. That's me." She goes, "I took my little girl to the park, and she came up to me after a while, says, 'Mom, can you please put your phone down and come play with me?'"
Yep.
And so it's, I don't want to like poo-poo on the phone so much, but we have to find a way to use it as a masterful tool for supporting our goals and our achievements, and then put it down and not use it as an entertainment center so that we can do other things in life, right? Okay, get off the soapbox. Okay, that's all I have for today. I thank you for coming and for sharing. This is recorded, and I'm going to go through it and edit out my hems and haws and all these long pauses. I try to keep it, to the point. And good luck with writing the counter argument. If you have any questions, you have my number. You can text me, and we'll take a look at where you're at. And I'm going to try to do a lot of grading this weekend. I'll be at my mom's, and so there's a lot of downtime there, so I could do some grading and catch up a little bit. Okay. Thank you, guys, and we'll see you soon.
Have a good week.
You too.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.